Well, welcome and hello, everyone. Welcome to my world. I am Cedrick LaFleur, and I am your host. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. Today, folks, is February 22nd of 2020. You know what that means? This is the eve of Cedrick's birthday. So I know you guys are ready for tomorrow, Tuesday, February 23rd. I don't want anybody taking the days off now. Just you keep working, but be ready to celebrate. All right. So Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first you must grow yourself in order to grow others. So we believe that outstanding leaders like yourself help make an impact with others. So tonight we have another dynamic leader. Now, every week I like to do a proper introduction of our guest. So let me do a proper introduction of Mr. John, the Hitman Manjounes. So John spent decades coaching, training, and speaking on vision, leadership, and awareness. He has substantial industry and real-world practical experience. He has helped build a multi-state distribution business. He trained, coached at every level and every position. And then he focuses training on training the leaders and training the managers and training the trainers, right? Later, he rose to the position of regional vice president in the financial services industry and thus was awarded a seat on the prestigious President's Council. Again, training the trainers as well as training supervisors and leaders led John in his career, and being a key trainer and a servant and a transitional leader, right? He later focused on his efforts on the business community, working as a business analyst for one of the country's largest business consulting firms, where he analyzed, coached, and trained on significance of break-even analysis and on profit and profitability. John is also a certified speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team. And so tonight, I want you to welcome Mr. John Manjounes to the show. Welcome, John.
Hey, everybody. How are you? You know what? That was a great introduction. I'd like to meet that guy.
Awesome. Well, folks, and I'll tell you a little bit how I met John. I met John. We were at the Maxwell International, the International Maxwell Certification Conference, and it was amazing. But I walked into the restaurant, and John was sitting in a restaurant. He says, "Hey, you are Cedrick LaFleur." And I was like, "Yes, I am." And from then on, we struck up a conversation, and we had a really good time talking that evening, and we've been friends ever since. So I'm excited to have John on the show. So John, hey, I read a little bit about your background, but tell our listeners a little bit about your journey to leadership and help us understand how you get to where you are today.
I will absolutely do that, and I would love to. But first, I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. I treasure you as a leader. I treasure our friendship. And, at that restaurant, I said to you, if you take me under your wing and you teach me stuff, I'll even wear an orange bow tie. And I want to thank you very much for not making me do that. I am coachable. I'm a little stubborn sometimes, as you know, but I'm coachable. And I'm glad that I haven't had to do that, because I don't personally think I look good in an orange bow tie.
Well, bow tie is coming.
That's it. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and coaching and training has been just a natural course for me. But I got involved in personal development in the mid-90s when I was in the financial industry, the financial services industry. And we used to go to seminars all the time. Jim Rohn, Dennis Waitley, John Maxwell Clearly, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. We would go to all of them. And what I did from those seminars and meetings, what most people don't do is I applied that material to my life. And that allowed me to become very successful in the financial services industry, selling high 6- and 7-figure trades, because I had the ability to develop relationships, and selling a guy with 6 or 7 figures was easier than selling a guy with 35,000 who didn't want to lose his money, because the guy with the 6, 7 figures knew he had to do something with that money. So we built an organization. I built an organization over 70 plus licensed representatives. So I've been coaching and training long before I got involved with the John Maxwell team as a professional coach.
Well, that is awesome, John. And we're looking forward to talking with you tonight and just to understand a little bit more about who you are and what you do. So tell us a little bit about your company, the name of your company and where you're located.
Well, I'm located in Columbia, South Carolina. The name of my company is GOAT, capital G-O-A-T, greatest of all times, GOAT Development Group. And as you know, I'm an executive director with the John Maxwell team. And I work with small businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs, and salespeople that want to improve themselves. You know, I work really specifically in 2 areas. One is mindset development. One of my favorite authors, other than John Maxwell, is James Allen. And he wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh. And one of his quotes is, "As a man thinketh, so is he." And you and I both know that our success is in direct correlation to our belief systems, because our lives and our choices every day are based on how we believe. And there's another quote from that book that I love that goes like this: "People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. Therefore, they remain bound." And what I've observed over the course of my life is that we all have a limiting belief system. And you and I have had this conversation, and I describe it that we all live in a box, right? And the borders of that box are our belief system. And some people's boxes are small, some people's boxes are big, and some people's boxes are colossal. But we all live in a confined thought process. And because of that, we never, very few of us ever really reach our potential. And my analogy is this: on a scale of 1 to 10, our potential is a 10. But we don't ever work at that level. We only work at a 3, 4, or 5, which is our level of willingness. And I call that the performance gap. So my why, what I do is I increase the awareness of others and equip them so that they can reach their greater potential. And the first thing that I do. The second thing I do with business owners is, because I'm an advocate of connecting. I'm an advocate of communication, true, but there's what's more important than talking is connecting and listening. So the second thing I do is I work with business owners and entrepreneurs and salespeople to work on their soft skills development and their people skills. And as you know, when you get, I think this is so funny, but when you get more than 2 people in a room, there's a huge potential for conflict, right? Why?
Sure.
You have 2 different opinions, you have 2 different belief systems, you have 2 different levels of awareness, you know, the law of contribution, right? 2 different levels of contribution, 2 different levels of attitude. So you cannot succeed in life, in my opinion, regardless of your dreams, your goals, or your aspirations. You cannot succeed in life if you can't communicate and connect with other people. So I focus on mindset development and soft skills development so that people can make a connection with others. And that's what I have walked away from my life with those two things of absolute paramount importance.
Well, that's awesome. I really do like that, John. So, you know, there in leadership development space, there are a lot of different businesses that are out there, large, medium, and small startup solopreneurs that are out there as well. So, hey, help our audience understand what's the difference between what separates GOAT development from other leadership development organizations.
You know, that's a great question, and I have to share with you one of the things that I focus on, and really what separates me from the mainstream, is my ability to put things in perspective for people. You know, you can have the best curriculum in the world, and as you know, the John Maxwell team, we actually do. But what's important is you have to meet the learner or the student or the customer where they are. Yeah, not everybody learns the same way. Mm-hmm. Some are visual learners, as you know. Some are auditory learners. Some are kinesthetic learners. I happen to be all of them because I need all the help I can get, right? But each person is going to be at a different level of awareness, a different level of belief system, and that we all have unique learning skills. You know, the old saying, the teacher appears only when the student is ready. Well, guess what? You put 10 people in a room, 4 people are ready, 4 people are going to be ready, and 2 people ain't never going to be ready, okay? Right. So as important as the curriculum is, and don't misunderstand me, I am not discounting that. But I'm saying that what's more important is to get the buy-in from the student, from the client. They got to get the buy-in to the curriculum, because if they don't have engagement and if they don't apply the curriculum to their lives, then I mean, in theory, you just wasted your money. So
sure. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, John. And so, you know, with following up on what you're saying here, you have to make your training sessions interactive and engaging so that your audience can get this. So,
right. And let me just add one thing. You know, the most important thing to me is the aha moment from the client. That's the most important thing. And, you know, some of our people in our business, they have their stopwatch. You got a 1-hour session. Okay, stop. It's over with. I'm not like that. You know, my sessions go as long as it takes for you to walk away with an understanding of what I'm talking about. And gosh, I mean, that's the most important thing. I don't do this for my health. I do it so that I can help people reach their greater potential. You know, so
wow. Well, that's awesome, and you kind of answered the question that I was going to ask you. So that's absolutely good. So what you know, you worked in corporate for a
short period of time. I worked in corporations. I worked for corporate for a short period of time, but everything else that I've done since then is really of an entrepreneurial nature.
Yeah. So my question around that is, what made you decide to become an entrepreneur? What's the excitement for you around being an entrepreneur?
Oh my. Okay. You know, there's so many contributing factors, but I'll tell you one that really stands out. In 1980, and for you younger people here, yes, 1980 really did exist. Okay. In 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected president, and my grandmother and all of her little old lady friends were sitting around the old lady home complaining about, no, I said, this is a true story, I swear to you, complaining about how Social Security was going to be cut. And she goes, oh, Johnny, I'm on a fixed income and Social Security is going to be cut and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm on a fixed income. And I went, yeah, it's going to be okay, baby. You're going to be okay. So one day I got to go to the bank. I got these 3 paychecks that I haven't deposited. And I go to the bank, and they didn't have drive-up tellers at the time, so you had to walk in. And I'm filling out this deposit slip. And I put check number 1, $241. Check number 2, $241. Check number 3, $241. And I went, check number 3, 2, and 1, they're all the same. And I went, I live on a fixed dadgum income. What are you talking about? Yeah, I live on a fixed income. So, one of the things that I do and I teach about is reflecting. Okay, I think reflecting is very important. I'm segueing here for a second because I do that so well. But reflecting turns knowledge into wisdom. Okay. So I start reflecting upon this deposit slip that I filled out, and I came to realize that I am living in a house, I am driving a car, I am traveling, I am eating the food, going to the restaurants that this employer said I could go to because I was on a fixed dadgum income. And I just said, homie, don't play that. You know what I mean? I just couldn't do it. I had too much ambition. I had too much drive. I mean, what am I going to, I'm supposed to sit there and develop a life, get married, have two and a half kids, a picket fence, a cat and a dog on $241 a week. I didn't understand that. It just didn't make sense. It didn't compute to me. So at that point, I started pursuing an entrepreneurial direction. And I will share with you that it is a journey that I would never, ever, ever replace. It has had its spectacular successes and its colossal failures at the same time. But I'm telling you what, the cost of doing business right here, baby.
Okay. I definitely. So we've been in this COVID world now. We're coming up on a year that we've been in this COVID lockdown, and so how is your business positioned to make it through the next big business disruption?
Great question. I don't think that it's possible to prepare for every variable that confronts us. It's not possible to do that. I mean, you could spend the rest of your life preparing for all the variables. I think what has to happen, and one of the lessons I learned from this whole COVID thing is we have to be better fundamentally, okay? And we got to be better stewards. We got to be a better stewardship, and the word stewardship I think gets a bad rap because everybody applies it to money. But you have to be a good steward of your time. You got to be a good steward of your resources. You have to be a good steward of your thinking, the stuff that you put into your brain. So you have to be a good steward of all of these things. And I think that if we all hunker down and become fundamentally strong, and fundamentals, are certainly our finances, our time, our prospecting, our business development, all of the things in our lives, everything boils down to fundamentals. Vince Lombardi every year, hey, this is a football. And I think that what the positioning that I'm taking for hopefully the next business disruption that doesn't come is to be strong fundamentally and to be good steward of the resources that I have. That's, clearly that's theoretical at best, because you don't know what this new big business disruption could be. But, if we're strong fundamentally and good stewards of everything that we have, the resources, the God-given talents that we have, then I think that we can weather anything.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I definitely get that. So let's say one of your customers was sitting right next to you, or they came right out that door behind you, and I say, "Hey, John, here's your customer ABC."
Yeah. What
would they say about you and your business?
Oh, high five, pat on the back, and go, "Awesome, John, man! This is awesome. This is awesome, John." They would, oh my gosh, they would go, "Oh, spectacular and wonderful, and oh my gosh, what a godsend!" Of course, I'm awesome, John. No, but seriously, what I would want them to do, which would give me goose pimples, I would want them to walk up to me with a firm handshake and genuinely and sincerely look me in the eye and say thank you. The accolades, we can make fun of the accolades and all that stuff, you know, flip up and down, buy me a Mercedes, all that stuff. I say a funny quick story. I said to one of my financial services clients many years ago, she called me up, she goes, "Have you seen my accounts?" I said, "Yes, I monitor your accounts all the time." She says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe what you've done for me." I said, "I know. I think you should buy me a Cadillac." So anyway, make a long story short, you know, the pat on the back, the genuine, sincere appreciation for the awareness that I brought to them and their organization would be everything.
Awesome. So, you know, John, leaders come in all different types of strengths and with different skill sets and different packages, right? So help us understand what are strengths, what strengths do you feel are important for our leaders to have? Just give us 2 or 3.
Okay. You know, oh my gosh, Cedrick, what great questions. Okay. When I talk to a business owner or a salesperson or a prospect of mine, I always ask them, what business are they in? And they always say the same thing. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a mortgage broker. I'm a plumber. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. And I look at them and I say, no, that's what you do. The business that you're in is you're in the people business. And people have to understand that connecting with others, valuing others, they have to realize how significant that is, regardless of what industry they're in. You know, there was a survey that I read the other day that said 80% of employees feel that their employers are problematic at communicating. So again, it's all about understanding how to communicate and to connect effectively with others and within your organization. And it makes every difference in the world, because people, I'm sitting in front of people who know they need to do something, that they need to make a change, that something isn't working. They're not firing on all 8 cylinders. There's something amiss. And there are many other people and resources that they have. They don't have to do business with me, but the reason that they do business with me is because I connect with them. And I'm effective at connecting with them, and I can relate to them. So, you know, we can talk about leadership and influence and, you know, all of that stuff. But if you don't connect and relate to other people, it's all for naught.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So connection and relationships are 2 of the leader strengths that you think all leaders should have. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. And good leaders, John, ask great questions, right?
Yes, they do.
So what has been some of the best questions that either you have asked or someone has asked you and you went, wow, that's a great question?
You know, that's a great question, and I have to share something with you. I say that all the time, and I genuinely mean that, because I don't think that there's any question that isn't a great question. I mean, when you're using your imagination and you're trying to understand something, questions are very important. What I look for and what I value is when I'm talking to people and I'm giving a presentation, I'm coaching, training, and speaking, and people come to me and say, can I do this? Is this possible? Could this really happen to me? You know, I think I can. Those type of questions, that's what give me goosebumps, because what's happening now is they're attacking the walls of their belief system. Okay, they're using their imagination and they're saying to themselves, you know what, maybe I can do this. Maybe and those are the type of questions that I look for and welcome from others. You know, can I do this? Because they're chiseling at that limiting belief system. And that's the first thing. If you don't think you can, you know, one of my favorite quotes in the world is Henry Ford. And he said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So here's a wild card question, John. So, we talk about leadership development, talk about running businesses and all that type of stuff. But tell our audience, if you're at home by yourself and just you and your four walls, what dessert are you going to eat?
What dessert am I going to eat?
Yes.
Well, contrary to popular opinion, I really don't eat a lot of sweets. I would prefer to have another drink, to tell you the truth.
Okay, so a drink is your dessert.
I would prefer to have another glass of bourbon or a glass of wine. I would prefer that. But if dessert is the thing, I love good chocolate chip cookies. I have to, and I love all the, listen, desserts are good, right? I mean, I love the tiramisus and the bread puddings and the peanut butter ice cream. That would be on the list there. But I would prefer another cocktail.
Okay. All right. So, well, that's good. While I'm doing this, saying, hey, let's just get to know who John is, right?
Yeah,
before we bring John in. On a serious note, John, many entrepreneurs go through this, and sometimes they want to give up. They want to throw in the towel.
Sure.
What advice would you give to someone who's right now? They may be listening, or they may be listening to the recording of this, and they're thinking of, they're questioning whether they should give up or just not try anymore.
Well, first of all, amidst the climate that we have with the COVID-19, the first thing I would say is you got to have a sense of reality, okay? Because look at the restaurant industry today. I mean, it is completely night and day than it was a year ago. Some restaurants have failed. Some have had to reinvent themselves. So the first thing that I would say is you got to be realistic about what you're doing. But more importantly than that, man, the irony of this whole conversation is that you're only one step away from success. You're right at the dadgum one yard line. You're one transaction away. You're one sale away. You're one client away from success. Just do it one more time. Do it one more time. And you just got to persevere. If you're passionate about what you do and who you are, then just do it one more time. Just do it one more time. But at the same token, there has to be a dose of reality, because if the horse is dead, you got to dismount.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and I don't want to give anybody false hope. I mean, I would never encourage somebody to go into the restaurant business today. Okay, you know what I mean? So, but if they have a sound business model, a sound business plan, if they have the enthusiasm, I mean, think about the money, the time, the resources that you have wasted if you quit. Gosh, I mean, that's a frightening thing for me.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you're so close, you're always this close. And if you don't, I love working for 10, 15 years to become an overnight success,
Absolutely. What's been, I guess I'll ask this question a different way. I want to ask it the right way here. What's been one of your most defining moments in your life?
Oh, gosh. Well, when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I had gotten a report card with D's and C's. And my dad was a pragmatist. He didn't fly off the handle. It wasn't emotional. There's no roller coaster ride. It was like, let's evaluate this. Let's think about this. What can we do to improve it? So we had that man-to-man talk about my subpar report card. And I told him I was going to do this, and I'm going to do A, and I'm going to do B, and I'm going to do 3, and I'm going to do 4, and I'm going to do 5, and I'm going to do that. And he looked at me and said, "Are you?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "You promise?" I said, "Yes." He stood up, he shook my hand, and said, "Okay." Next report card, C's and D's. No change, no improvement, nothing. And he looked at me and he said, "I thought you said you promised." And I said, "I did." And he says, "Well, it doesn't look like you kept your promise." And that was a defining moment for me, because now I don't make promises I can't keep. So I'm very, I'm a little more thorough in thought with the promises that I make.
Okay. All right. So that was a good defining moment. So, John, we have a segment on the show that we call Would You Rather. All right. Okay. So we're going to play a little bit of Would You Rather. So okay. Would you rather meet your great grandparents or your great grandchildren?
My great grandchildren.
Okay. Would you rather, and audience, you can play along with this as well. Just type in your responses in the comments, right? Would you rather have a life rewind button or a life pause button?
A life pause button.
A life pause button. Okay. All right, audience. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather?
I would like to. Could I explain why I made that decision?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe, I hear a lot of people say all the time, "Well, I should have done this and I should have done that." And I am not an advocate of that thought process. Okay. 20 years ago, we all made a decision at that time that we thought was best for us at that moment in time. If we look back now 20 years later, with a whole new level of understanding, a whole new level of awareness, a whole new level of education, we can second guess ourselves all day long. I can't make that decision 20 years ago with the same level of thinking and awareness that I have today. I cannot do that. So I am not an advocate of looking back and saying, "Oh, I should have done this, I should have done that." No, you did what you did that was best for you at that time. So I'm not interested in rewinding, going back, and I'm interested in pausing. Let's take a breath and move forward.
Okay. All right. Would you rather sit or stand for the rest of your life if you could only choose one?
Sit.
All right. Would you rather see colors that no one else could see or smell smells that no one else could smell?
Colors.
All right. A couple more here. Would you rather be a ninja or be a pirate?
Oh, a ninja.
And why is that? Because
actually, because I have that skill set. I mean, when I was 18, the Marines wanted to recruit me in high school. And I told them, I said, I could never be a Marine. They said, "Why?" I said, "Because you'd have to change your motto." And they said, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "Well, your motto is you're looking for a few good men. I'm sure you got a couple now. If you get me, you'll have one more. So you got a few good men. You have to change your motto." But I always thought, and the funny part is they couldn't overcome that objection, so I never went into the Marines. But I always thought that I had, back then, I had the physical ability and the I could have been a special ops guy or a ninja. So.
Okay. All right. Last question. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
100,000 in real money.
100,000 in real money. Okay. All right. See, I'd rather have that million in Amazon gift cards because I'm shopping on Amazon all the time anyway.
No, and that's a tough one. If I could cash in the million, I would want the million I would want the cash to invest. I don't think you can invest with Amazon gift cards.
No, but you can buy a whole lot of stuff from Amazon.
Sure.
So give us one or two things that you learned about yourself from being a business owner.
What I love about being a business owner is freedom. I don't punch a clock. I have a business model that I've developed and I've created. I love the freedom. I will share with you that comes with responsibility, however. It's freedom with responsibility because I still have to pay the bills. I still have to create wealth. I still have to move forward. I still have to do all those things. So it's freedom. What I love about being an entrepreneur and the things that I've learned about is it's freedom with responsibility. I couldn't punch a clock, work 9 to 5 for half an hour for lunch. I couldn't do that.
You love the freedom. Awesome. So there may be someone that's out there that's trying to decide whether they want to be an entrepreneur or not, right? And this is why I asked this question, right? So that people can see what other entrepreneurs, why they like being an entrepreneur, why they want to be an entrepreneur, why they continue to be an entrepreneur.
And let me just add to that there are some people who are built for that and some people who aren't. I mean, I've had many friends and acquaintances over the course of my life that don't understand how I can pay bills, create wealth, buy a home, buy a car when I don't get a paycheck. I said, well, what do you mean? Well, how do you get paid? Well, I go get a client. I go get a prospect. I provide value to somebody. Well, who pays you? Where does that paycheck come from? And it's like two different languages, man. I mean, two different languages. And that, some people, so you got to find out who you are and then follow that course for yourself.
Right. Absolutely. 100% agree with you. So growth, John, has to be intentional, and you're in the leadership development space. So you get this, you understand it very well, right? So what do you do for personal and professional growth?
I am a student of my business. As you know, I mean, I am always involved with reading and listening and books and seminars, and I take different courses, and I am always looking to improve myself. Now, I will share with you that I'm at a point in my life where I don't have an outline or a checklist of growth, but conceptually, I intentionally grow and try and research and try to be better today than I was yesterday. And I do that for the improvement of myself, clearly, but so I can be more valuable to my clients and prospects.
Awesome. So do you have a mentor? And if you do, how has that mentor impacted your professional journey?
The answer to that is yes and no. I don't have one particular mentor, but I listen very attentively to people and I listen to the value that they bring to the table. And I think that everyone has tremendous value in some aspect of their lives. And I am always listening to great leaders and motivators in industry and visionaries, and I'll listen to Ted Turner or yourself or John Maxwell, or I'll read something about Winston Churchill or Ronald Reagan, or and just take something from them, because everybody's level of awareness is different, and their experiences give that experience. Their experiences can translate into vision that we can apply in our lives.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, what's been the best thing? I know we're early in this year so far, right?
Yeah.
We're almost 2 months into the year, but what's been the best thing that's happened to you this year so far?
This year, 2021, this year?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
Besides coming on this show, what else has been there?
Well, we're always referencing last year, so I just needed clarity there. You know what I mean? The best thing that happened to me this year was the decision that I made for myself and my prospects. Okay. Christmas is always a festive time, but for me this year with COVID, it was just another dadgum 2 weeks of doing nothing, you know? And I just decided that me personally and the prospects that I want, that I have out there are anxious to get involved and hear what I have to say. And I mean, and I have been going full out since January 1st. And I'm telling you what, we had this conversation earlier this year about my word of the year. And my word of the year was visibility. Mm-hmm. And I made a decision that these people wanted to hear me and that they wanted to see me and that I was welcome and accepted everywhere that I went. And that has been absolute gospel. And I'm telling you what, I'm on dadgum fire right now. I am. I'm on fire.
Well, that's awesome that you're on fire. And I like that about you, John. You always seem to be on fire and trying to do things and trying to create opportunities in your business. And folks, I want to tell you, let me put John's information on the screen. We're talking with John Manjounes, who is the founder and chief executive for GOAT Development, right? And you'll see his Facebook page scrolling across the screen. You'll see shortly his contact information also is going to be on the screen. And reach out to John if you're looking for someone in the leadership development space. Reach out to John. He's located in South Carolina, but John says he travels. John says that there's always virtual opportunities as well. So don't be afraid to reach out to GOAT Development. And GOAT is greatest of all times. All right. I know when we normally talk about GOAT, we're talking about me, but that's different.
That's true. That's true. Cedrick LaFleur always comes up in conversation when that word comes into play, no doubt.
No. So reach out to John with GOAT Development, and we'll be putting his contact information up here on the screen for you as well. So, John, we have a few more questions for you, and when you at the end of the day, you put in all this work, you put in all this effort, and you're trying to add value to other people and help them grow. But we also know that sometimes we may struggle with things, and we've all had times where we've failed as well. So help share with us a time that you've failed at something or struggled with something, and what did you do to overcome that and rebound?
Great question. There's an old saying that I never make the same mistake twice. I make it 3 or 4 times just to be sure.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that can testify to that. They've done that too.
And part of me, I'm a little more seasoned now in my stage of life, but throughout the course of my life, I have been very naive, and I believe that I believe in the best of people. And the lessons that I have had to continually learn is that I have had to learn who I can trust in my life. I'm a very trusting person. I'm very idealistic. I believe that there's greatness in absolutely everybody, regardless of circumstances. But I've had to become more selective about the people that I trust in my life. So there's been success lessons and failures lessons in there, but one of the things that I'm very intentional about, and my level of awareness is screaming high, is about the people that I trust in my life. Because clearly that's been those have been costly lessons, I must say.
Sure, I'm sure.
Costly in many regards.
I'm sure I can definitely understand. So we know that the life of an entrepreneur can be fun and exciting, and that journey, it's a roller coaster ride, right? But we also know that in the life of an entrepreneur, we run across people sometimes that we just want to add value to them, right? We want to do something to help take them to another level. So what's the excitement, John, or what's the fascination with, I don't even know the right word, with adding value? So what's that feeling you get when you add value to someone, right?
You know, it's really what I said earlier. When somebody comes to me and in a training class or in a coaching session, and they really start chiseling at those limiting beliefs walls, and they start saying, can I do this? Can this really happen to me? Is this true? Is this really, can this happen to me? That type of thing. I mean, that's what really floats my boat, man. I mean, that is it. Now what they do with that, depending upon my relationship with them, what they do with that is on them. I can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? Right. I can give you a sense of purpose. I can give you vision. I can help you erode and break down those walls of limiting belief. But at the end of the day, you got to take responsibility. People have to take responsibility for where they're at, and they have to take responsibility for the information that I give them and what they do with it. So it's a two-sided coin, of course. But what really excites me is when someone starts saying, you know what, I get this.
Awesome. So final question for you, John.
Yes, sir.
If there was a book that was written about you, right, what would the title be? And what would the summary in the back of the book say about you?
Well, I want to say the title would be Awesome John Rides Again. Okay.
Okay.
But the title of the book would be Yay for Poo. Okay. And poo being poo as in dog poo, right? Because you can't have a breakthrough. You can't reach, and you can't get higher or closer to your level of potential until you get rid of the garbage that you're dragging around with you. Okay? It's called a catharsis. And what that means from the Greek word meaning dump the poo, okay? So when I get my last dog, I hadn't had a dog for years, and we got a puppy, and I didn't know how to train it. So I started reading all these dog books. And one of the things they said was encourage the dog when it goes to the bathroom. Outside, okay, not inside. You don't encourage it when it goes inside. You encourage it when it goes outside, so it learns learns the behavior. So anyway, what we did was every time the dog went poo outside, we go, yay for poo, yay for poo. And the metaphor is that you have to get rid of the garbage in your life while you're making progress in your personal growth. Because, they all say leave the baggage at the train station when the train's rolling out, all that stuff. That is so true. You cannot achieve greatness or any level of greatness while you're holding on to your past failures, past relationships, past beliefs. You got to let it go. And so, I don't know, that's what I would say.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So I want to say thank you very much, John, for coming on the show. I definitely enjoyed having a conversation with you. You're always an awesome guy to talk to. And folks, you've been listening to John Manjounes with Go Development. His contact information is at the bottom of the screen. If you want to get in contact with him, go ahead and get that information now. If you're watching this sometimes later, make sure you take some notes and tune into what John is giving you. He's giving you a lot of valuable information to learn about yourself and to learn about being a great leader. And one of the things he said about leader strengths is great leaders need to be able to connect with people and build relationships with people.
Amen.
Right. So thank you again, John, for coming on the show. Folks, you've been listening to another version of Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC. And I want to tell you, like I tell you every night, if you're sitting, before I do that, at tonight here at 6:30, we're actually, which is 7:30 Eastern time, we're going to have another show with my guest is going to be Miss, doggone it. That's a shame. Anna Banks is going to be my guest. Okay. Sorry about that, Anna, but Anna Banks is going to be my guest here in just a little bit. So, hey, stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back with you. But as I always tell you, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and don't be on the menu. Thank you and good night.